Screw 616. Fuck Earth Prime. This season, we're going multiversal. Super Nerdland brings you graded .5.
Hey everybody, welcome to Grade Point 5. Sorry, we didn't have a show last week. I kinda got Irma'd. And,
Irma respected him too much.
Yeah, we were actually out hoarding supplies that we didn't even need.
But it never hurts to have supplies.
Yeah.
Are your socks dry yet?
Oh, yes.
That was the biggest a total tragedy that your socks got wet. I mean, it's just... Damn.
Yeah, no, he's rebuilt. It's okay. All he had to deal with was a 4-foot-long tree branch. You know, donate to his Patreon, though, because he has PTSD now.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I had PTSD before.
No, I know, but now it's like active. It's like it was in remission.
It was in dormant state.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's how it works.
Oh yeah, that's totally how PTSD works.
My PTSD was in remission, and
all right. Well, I'm your host, Jason. With me tonight is Wayne.
Hi.
Dick.
Hey.
And our special guest, because, well, I like listening to this guy rant about one of the things we're going to be getting to tonight. Evan.
Howdy.
Alright. So we're still going around alternate universes, and DC so far has been looking better than Marvel.
By a mile. By a country mile. Not just a regular mile.
But I have to say, once we get back to Marvel, I will have dug up some good stuff. Don't worry. I have plans for this.
Okay. He's like, there's got to be something good in this tripe.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to be doing like Age of Apocalypse. That's a little too big for an episode, even too.
I mean, that's not. I mean, I get it's kind of technically a what if, but not really. You know, it's because it did act. That reality actually did happen.
Well, yeah, and well, it's not just about what ifs. It's just about the multiverse in general. You know,
multiverse, alternate reality kind of thing. Yeah.
But we're gonna be talking about one of the all-time classics, actually. February 1989. I was only 4.
I was 9. I'm still the old man here.
I wasn't born yet.
I wasn't born.
I could literally break my own graham crackers across the line at that point. I was the man.
Dude.
Telling you, dude.
Mad skills.
But yeah, DC Comics, I think, wasn't this technically the first Elseworlds?
Well, yes.
Yeah. In fact, I think looking at it wasn't even labeled as Elseworlds yet.
No.
So.
But all the later publications have it labeled as Elseworlds. So
yeah.
So we're good.
But yeah, we're talking Gotham by Gaslight. This was written by Brian Augustine, drawn early feels like Mike Mignola.
My fucking hero.
Like, yeah, that's why Evan's here. I mean, how early is that in his career?
It's 4 years prior to the first issue of Hellboy. So pretty early in his career. It's after the Namor stuff, but yeah, real early.
So he was still kind of a babby in the industry.
Yeah, he'd be a baby. He wasn't even writing yet, which is what he's most famous for.
Mm-hmm. I always appreciated his art, though. It's really good.
Yeah,
he's doing the pencils.
The art in both of these are just fantastic. Although I don't,
it's definitely not. It's definitely not Hulk versus Wolverine or anything.
Yeah, specifically Gotham by Gaslight. I like the art a lot of. Mignola does a fantastic job with his pencils and everything, and he has a very good grasp of how to fill in scenes and backgrounds and things with good filler that is interesting to look at without being too complex or taking away from the main
really
sort of character
the
art.
Aesthetic too.
Oh yeah, no, that
period.
Too.
That's
all those blacks, man.
Yeah.
Black for days.
And I think it needs to be pointed out here, this isn't Mignola doing, gothic horror or anything. This is Mignola doing steampunk.
Yeah. Pretty much late Victorian era.
Yeah.
Stuff. It's like really good looking.
And there's a very interesting interpretation of the Batsuit.
Mm-hmm. I like it, honestly. That is like, how would a Batsuit look if it was developed in the late 1800s instead of, whatever time period it originally came from, before there was like spandex and things like that nature,
Yeah, no, it looks a bit like a prisoner outfit, I want to say, but I'm also
I like it to like what do you call it, a traveler, somebody who does a lot of riding, and they're going to wear like baggier clothes and things like that, because this is not a form-fitting bat suit.
No, it's not super tight.
Yeah,
like the spandex suits.
Yeah, because if you're like, if you know anything about people who do riding and stuff, you kind of want looser fitting clothing, because shit chafes.
Now, I got a really big question I want to ask, but I got to hold it till we do the quick, plot synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to try to put it in more of a chronological order than the comic did, because comics, have flashbacks, flash forwards, flashbackers.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne's family is murdered during a carriage ride.
Mm-hmm.
And it honestly doesn't look like a robbery. It just seemed like a fake pretense even in that,
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, robbery,
no, it's just straight up murder.
Yeah, shoot once kind of thing, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then
if they feel threatened. Yeah, if they feel threatened, then they run away. Yeah.
But this guy's like, emptying both all fucking cylinders on this.
Mm-hmm.
So
12 shots out of these revolvers.
Yeah.
If not for the bats.
And then the bats swoop in and automatically become totemic in Bruce's mind and dreams. Bruce grows up, goes to Europe to study all these different disciplines, like detective work in London, I think they said, during the events that were leading up that he didn't realize were going to cross his path. I hate that little bit of foreshadowing,
Yeah.
I like so he's hanging out with Sigmund Freud?
Yeah. He learned psychology from Freud.
That's what I like, that the fact that it just like the regular Batman, he went and quote unquote trained with the masters, as they say, but this is more about training in as of you're seeing the detective side of the training instead of what we usually see. It's like the martial arts and all that stuff that we the
Ra's al Ghul side of the training
stuff. Yeah, stuff like that, where it's like more more about the martial side of it.
More about kicking ass.
Yeah, more about the kicking of ass, and then it is the using your head. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Bruce, is out literally learning from masters, and he learns other things that we only learn about in the second half of the show. So he's, spent his time well from the looks of it. Comes back to Gotham, runs into a family friend who he calls Uncle Jacob. Tries to do the high society thing for a bit. And then Braindead, sorry, meets up with Jim Gordon, and Jim gives like a really cool kind of backdrop piece to this of like how Gotham has progressed.
Mm-hmm.
And you see like an analog of the Joker, and it's just fucking creepy as shit.
Only Mike can draw it.
Yeah, I would totally have loved to seen something with that done by Mignola.
Oh yeah,
I think
character.
I think it would have been fucking creepy as shit.
Oh, by the way, anybody love the that Jim Gordon looks pretty much like Teddy Roosevelt in that?
I know, right?
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's like pretty sweet. Yeah,
looks like he can throw a fist and ride pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a Jim Gordon. You say, man, this guy could kick ass.
Yeah, I'll be honest, when I was reading it earlier, it's not my first time reading it, but when I was reading it earlier to refresh my memory for the show, I got to the part with Jim Gordon. I just thought it was supposed to be Teddy Roosevelt for me.
Oh, it's like, and the thing is, it wouldn't bother you because just earlier in the issue he was talking to Freud, so it's like, maybe he fucking does know Teddy Roosevelt.
I thought he was later than that, but cool.
Let's see. Roosevelt became president in 1906, I believe it was. I have to make sure, but it was still put him in the time period.
Out.
Yeah,
checks out.
Yeah, we put him in the time period, and I believe he was like a police commissioner at one point. So.
Okay, again, get to this, please. Have fucking Gordon meet Rose out and just confuse the audience.
Yeah, just throw it out there. Yeah.
That'd be a good Edward Gray Witchfinder plot.
Right. But the Joker was creepy as hell. He like poisoned his wife and then tried to commit suicide with his own poison, and all it did was permanently numb his face, like the muscles and shit. 10
rich old ladies. Not one wife. 10 rich old ladies. 10 wives.
Yeah. Joker's pretty fucking cool.
Jason's like, killing 10 wives?
So, of course, Bruce, puts on the bat suit. It's like, I'm going to go kick some ass.
Which is what you do when you get home,
But around the same time, some women start getting murdered. And, stories do as they do. And people start going, well, Batman murdered him, And that gets immediately dispelled when a postcard came in, and it was signed Jack the Ripper.
Yep.
Who else?
Yeah, I'm almost wanting to. Was it postcards in the original, or was it like a body part or some shit? But yeah,
a while since I read that Alan Moore comic.
Right. Mm-hmm. We'll cover that one day, I swear. But so people suspect, Gordon's higher up, and a couple of us suspect Bruce, and Bruce is like, "Oh, yeah, come take a look. I have nothing to hide," except a bloody knife winds up turning up under Bruce's bed, so they arrest Bruce. Bruce goes to trial. His Uncle Jake is his defense attorney, and they convict him. They say he's the Ripper, and they're gonna hang him. I think it was like 5 days or some shit.
Yeah,
and they imprison him in a very gothic looking Arkham.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a fucking what you would expect from a late 1800s fucking prison.
Like a tuberculosis ward.
Right. And so while he's in there, Gordon doesn't believe Bruce did it, so Gordon gives him all the evidence all the documentation he can find. Bruce goes absolutely apeshit over it for fucking days on end, writing in his journal what he's pulling up.
Got some awesome part of the streets. Just tons of black people walking in Victorian looking outfits. Very, that's where the art hits the hardest for me. A couple of scenes in there. But go on, you got real story to tell.
Yeah, but the whole time Bruce knows he's got 5 days, 4 days, time's ticking for him, and he, is gonna fucking die if he can't figure it out. Just the day before he's supposed to get executed, he realizes the specific skill set, used in the Jack the Ripper murders, both original and new fictitious ones, and found a picture of the knife used matched up to a picture of his father's old unit or some shit, and that made the knife have to belong to Uncle Jake. And Alfred shows up, doesn't bail Bruce out of prison, but helps him escape, gives him the suit. And Bruce, as Batman, goes off to find the Ripper. And finds him about to, kill another woman. And then there's a really cool chase scene through Gotham. And Bruce manages to corner him at his parents' grave. sits there, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? And Uncle Jake just goes, because Martha laughed at me.
Bitch.
Right? And I'm just like, wait, what? And he tells a story about how, laid it all on the line and said how much he loved her and everything, and she just laughed at him. And then,
now granted, it was probably not as bad as he put on, but
yeah.
People in their psychoses make things worse than they actually are.
And he said that Thomas knew about it and he laughed too,
Mm-mm.
So
and Bruce knew it and he laughed too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
the child.
3 years old.
The kid, yeah.
But the thing is, even though, he was spurned like that, the Waynes kept giving him all the money he would ever need to do anything he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
he was the family solicitor, and...
Yeah. They put him through law school, they put him through medical school.
They put him through medical school first, and then after he failed, they put him through law school, and he was last in the class, but still managed to pass somehow.
Yeah. So he started killing women who looked like Martha to try to shut up the laughter in his head. Like, he went so far as to hire a the fucking dude who killed the Waynes to begin with, just because, in his mind they had spurned him and kept him like a pet. So yeah. Batman, is sitting there like, the Ripper doesn't know it's Bruce, and he's telling this deeply personal narrative about his family. I thought that was actually pretty interesting.
Then Bruce rips off the mask.
Yeah, of course. And Jake just goes fucking nuts. He's like, oh god, it's Bruce, and he had said all that shit not knowing it was Bruce. And so he tries to kill Bruce. Manages to, cut his arm really bad or some shit? Chest. And Gordon fucking shoots him.
One of the coolest looking gunshot drawings I've seen in all a comic. Like, it's a monkey with a gun level of cool.
Yeah, that's like Sin City levels of fucking cool.
And we're at the end of the comic.
Yeah.
Bruce, Gordon, and all the police show up, and Bruce thanks him and is on his way. Did I get that right?
Yeah, pretty much. So now, there's a bit of history attached to this story after the fact. What became the Arkham Asylum games started as a tech demo for a Gotham by Gaslight game. Do you think maybe they kind of missed a really good fucking shot there?
Yeah.
Do you think Gotham by Gaslight could have outsold Arkham Asylum?
I think with I've always said Arkham Asylum proves you can make a good superhero Batman game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you would need hella good writing.
Yeah. You would definitely have to pull in some of the originals for this, just so it would flow right, because you obviously are going to have to add stuff to it, because this...
Well, there's 2 other stories connected to this.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if we go by just Gotham by Gaslight, we're looking at a 50-page comic. And, how they...
You're going to set the whole thing in Arkham Asylum. You'd have to very, very fully flesh out these side characters. The Joker who killed 10 of his wives, you'd have to flesh out. You probably need to introduce a Two-Face type character. You'd probably have to...
one thing they could do is have, that would be Batman's first case, would be taking out the Joker guy, the guy who killed 10 wives, instead of it being like he just got caught as he got home kind of thing.
Yeah.
A few subtle changes here and there, to flesh out for gameplay reasons and whatnot. So you could have like maybe at least a 20-hour game out of it.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, just a few things, like instead of a police, we caught this guy, be like, you caught the guy, and the police, of course, took credit for it because they always do, Yeah,
the intro where you're fighting a bunch of dudes is you basically capturing the Joker.
Yeah. See, that would be interesting. Think about what, nobody would know where this is going because you start off by capturing the Joker. It's not like the last thing, it's the first thing,
Yeah.
That would be very interesting.
Build Ripper up as the end boss.
Right.
I mean, you could even have shit like Joker pulling the strings behind the curtain. He wanted to get caught.
You remember Arkham City very well at all? Have it be like the Hush thing, but have that be the main plot.
Yeah.
Where you're finding victims and shit, and having, these other stories that you think are the main one, but they're really just a side quest to get you to see the fucking Ripper murders. Mm-hmm. And then everything ties up at the end, and the only thing left undone is the Ripper.
Right. Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
Get on it, WB.
Yeah, dude, I'm not even going to ask for money. Just give us all a copy.
Yeah.
Platform of our choice.
Yeah.
Okay, no, see, I have a slightly better idea.
All right.
I would like to see this as a rotoscoped movie.
Well, it is getting an animated version.
Yes,
Really?
I know that. And it'll probably be amazing because the animated movies are usually amazing from DC. DC, you just need to start putting your animated movies in movie theaters, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Especially like the good ones like Dark Knight Returns. Anybody seen that adaptation?
Yeah,
I
it's
have
really
not
good.
yet seen it yet.
Oh, I've got the 3-hour cut. It's, dude, so much of it is just panel for panel.
So is a 3-hour cut, like both parts put together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Without the recap and second intro.
Well, it's kind of like they do good stuff. I even said, what was that one? Killing Joke would have been great if you cut out the first 20 minutes.
It's closer to like 28, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like, did not need that at all.
But the part that let it be a theatrical cutout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was badly written.
Yeah, it was badly written. I mean, there is there are things that are tacked on,
and there's pretense that was not there.
Yeah, there's some certain things it's okay to tack on, but this was like barely put on there with masking tape. So it's just
this was the duct tape covering all the rust on the urban assault vehicle.
Yeah.
Well,
if they had released that as like a mini prequel animation, saying this leads up to that and didn't attach it to that story as much, it might have worked. But putting it all together and saying this happened within a 2-week span, no, didn't work.
No,
because in the book, if I remember correctly, I know we're getting off topic a little bit here, but in the book, the Killing Joke, like Barbara had been retired from being Batgirl for years.
Yeah.
It won't just like overnight she decided not to be Batgirl anymore. It was like years that she had not been Batgirl. And that's why it was so shocking what happened, So, anyway.
Back on the ranch. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the animated Gotham by Gaslight. I might do a review of it if I get a copy.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that they stick with the same sort of direction that the art did in here, where it was nice and used a lot of blacks and shading and filling in of negative space with,
What I've seen of the trailer, if you need to get a chance to check it out, they've done a really good job of, it's like you can never match an artist, with animation. Real good, but... if you can get something close, it looks good. You know what I mean? And this looks really good. I mean, like one of the guys said one of the coolest things he was doing, somebody who's done Batman and stuff before, was like doing Batman where you could actually see his eyes. Because this particular costume doesn't have lenses or anything to cover his eyes. You can see his eyes if you're close enough to him. So,
Yep.
Yeah, my main concern with the animated feature is I don't think a ton of blacks moving works nearly as well. Flip that. It doesn't work nearly as well in motion as it does in the still panels.
On. Have you seen the Hellboy animated movies?
Yes, I have, and those aren't nearly as dark as the books. They're good, but they're not quite. They're quite.
They're going to have to tone it down a little, but there's still a lot of room in that dark to play with.
No, I'll give you that. If they stick to a style pretty similar to those the Hellboy movies, or the animated movies, or the Hellboy movies, I wouldn't complain either way.
Yeah. So that's part one of what we read. We also decided to read the sequel from December '91. That is Batman Master of the Future, written by Brian Augustine, but this time pencils were done by Eduardo Barreto, which I'd never heard of, I'll be honest.
Well, he inked it too.
Yeah.
I think the one thing, just to give a good, to start off with, I like the art in this book.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they didn't try to ape Mignola's style.
Thankfully.
He just went with his own style, and it worked great. Because you don't need to ape somebody's style if you're telling a story. Even if it is a sequel to another story.
Yeah, and I think the style here fit better than the style that Mignola developed for the original Gotham by Gaslight. I don't feel like that sort of same art style with how, what's the word I'm looking for? Not rough, but stylized it was. I don't think it would have fit for the plot of the Master of the Future, in my opinion. And I think that the art style that was gone with by Eduardo here just kind of lends itself really well to the storytelling.
Now, Wayne, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Mm-hmm.
You think you can give us a rundown of this book?
Not really.
What about you, Evan?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
All right.
So we start with a little fight scene. Bruce is hanging out at a ring with another fellow who looks... And in the ring is a fellow who looks a lot like Teddy Roosevelt. That's going to be a theme in this comic. Dudes look like Teddy Roosevelt. So
when I think of 1890 tough guys, I think of the former president of the United States, Teddy Roosevelt. Obviously.
And everybody else, my dude. So Bruce accuses him of throwing a fight, and we see that he is a badass when he appears to one punch the guy who just won the throne fight. So we got Bruce, and he seems to have hung up the cape. Gotham needs him, but he's hung up the cape, and he's married. He's enjoying
He's not
domestic
married.
life. Well,
I thought he wasn't married yet.
Well, he's hanging out with a lady.
It says here, fiance.
Okay, so fiance, they're not married. I'm sorry. So he's
close
hanging
enough.
out
They're
with
getting
this.
there.
They're getting married. He's hanging out with his fiance a whole lot, and he hung up the cape, presumably for that reason. Gordon, get a scene of her exposition with her talking with a friend, and then we jump over to Gordon, who is still looking like Teddy, but not quite as beefy a mustache in this version. And he basically says, we need Batman. Now more than ever, we need Batman. And, Batman, Bruce and Alfred are saying, well, Gotham needs to live without me. Hopefully it's not going to turn into total chaos.
Which, of course, means it's going to turn into chaos.
Well, yeah, foreshadowing dictates that for us. So we pop into a courtroom scene, it looks like a courtroom scene. It's not actually a courtroom, it's more like a city hall. And the fella who was the head detective is telling Buffalo Bill Cody that he needs to get his ass out of town.
Yeah, and suddenly Buffalo Bill, right?
Yeah, and all of a sudden Buffalo Bill. So there's a bunch of crap about what the city's going through, bankruptcy. The mayor, former commissioner, has a plan. He's got a fair that he's going to put into town. And what? Who's that? Who? Look at him. Who does he think he is? Who is that? It's the master of the future. Our villain, the man of tomorrow. And he basically says, look, your city, I could live by my terms, or your city's fucked. And everybody basically says, well, guess our city's fucked then. We're not gonna go along with you. And he jumps out of a window and somehow doesn't die despite it being 9 stories up. So, need the Batman. Look, there's somebody who came into City Hall. He broke in and made threats to the mayor. We need the Batman.
Yeah. See? Yeah.
And the Batman is gone. He's not coming back. Bruce is busy hanging with the lovely lady friend. And somebody help me here. I forgot what happens after that.
I'm kind of rolling through it as you're talking.
Yeah.
So, honestly, my focus was to refresh on the first one.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I remember what happens next. It's a fair. Like, they ignore Master of the Future and go on about life and plan this fucking carnival thing. Fairground dealy. And, Bruce shows up late for the planning committee.
Classic Bruce.
Yeah. So they tour the fairground, and a fucking mechanized machine gun with a clown head on it comes out and starts shooting at the mayor.
Bruce tackles him.
Yeah, Bruce, fucking just straight up knocks him to the ground and destroys the fucking mechanized gun.
Throws a cane at it.
Yeah, which honestly kind of bugged me because that felt more Joker-y than anything.
Mechanized clown head's usually a dead giveaway for Joker.
Right. So, there's a letter written by the Master of the Future, saying, you ignored me, I'm going to burn the city, and you're going to die. And, they're like, oh, we're just still going to go on with this carnival thing. And, Gordon kind of pulls Bruce aside and goes, I don't think the cops are going to be enough for this shit. We need Batman. And so they get Batman. Opening day of the carnival, Master of the Future, abducts a mayor at gunpoint, brings him to his airship, which annoyingly was named the Bird of Prey.
And we learn that it's flown by a mechanical dummy, which is one of the coolest parts of this comic for me.
So yeah,
so he made himself his own robot driver, essentially.
Yep. So at the fairgrounds, the people, Tolliver and they're all waiting on Tolliver, and Bruce goes, "What's that buzzing sound?" And there's the fucking airship, and
he got a laser beam on it.
Yeah, solar powered laser beam, and he fucking levels the pavilion with a fucking laser beam
from the sun.
Yeah, from the sun.
Steampunk laser beam.
He essentially did what we do to ants.
Yeah,
magnifying glass. Yes.
And the people are dying and shit, and fucking the Master of the Future is sitting there with the mayor fucking begging for his life. And just ignores him and chucks him out the fucking airship.
Falls through the ceiling.
Yeah, falls through the ceiling and dies.
And everything's on fire.
So Bruce fucking gets onto the airship by using a hang glider, because those were commonplace back then.
Thankfully, Alfred was kind enough to bring him his suit.
Yeah.
He's like, shit's going down, so thought you might need this.
Yeah, so meantime, Master of the Future's, blowing up the slums with his fucking solar-powered laser beam.
Bruce's fiance goes to save a child and gets trapped under some debris, and oh my god, there's Batman, excuse me, not Bruce.
Yeah, who's this Bruce you're talking about? This is Batman, of course. I mean, totally separate people.
Says it's you. I really liked that.
So, yeah, Bruce fucking goes off of a gondola tower with a hang glider and uses the smoke from the fire's rising air pressure to reach the airship. He barely gets on, last rung fucking cliche kind of thing. And fucking knocks the Master of the Future into the robot and kills him.
The giant globe.
Yeah. Why did they take everything nice from us? Antonio was a good boy. He didn't do nothing wrong.
Did nothing wrong.
He was a sweet robot butler. How could he do any pilot? How could he do anything wrong?
Yeah, he was just doing his job. I mean, that was fine.
So the now defunct robot, causes the airship to fall. And Batman escapes and the Master of the Future dies. And as the airship crashes into Gotham's Bay and explodes.
Got a pretty sweet fight on a whole bunch of I-beams.
Yeah.
Classic I-beam fight.
Oh well, the pressure on the air balloon is getting worse, by the second, because that's what happens.
Yeah, I guess.
Danger.
Batman bails at the last second.
Anybody like
everything
how they
crashes in the water?
Anybody like how on page 58 they just ape the pretty much ape a dirigible? What was the name of the thing that got blown up?
Hindenburg.
Hindenburg. They just aped the Hindenburg on this one. It's like just in the ocean, so it's fine.
I think you mean the Led Zeppelin one. That's the
was
cover
that
of Led Zeppelin one, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not the one that had Cashmere. That was physical graffiti.
Yeah. No. I don't. I think it was one. It might have been two.
Yeah. Well, we got the classic Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin. And it crashes into the river, and the fires all get put out, and thankfully they only burned the slums.
And only 133 people died.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, so at City Hall, Batman shows up and confronts Franklin Claypool, who was one of the planning committee. And, he goes, I know, you were the guy behind the fucking Master of the Future. And the guy's like, oh, yeah. It was all a fucking scheme to make some...
The insurance fraud scheme.
Some insurance fraud scheme to make some fucking money off of real estate that I'd happened to have bought. And now it's going to need urban renewal. Ha ha ha.
Oh. Sounds like something Lex Luthor would do. Jesus.
And so they arrest him. And life goes on.
Got a nice little scene at the end where Bruce is hanging out with his lady friend. Oh, Bruce. You know it was you. I'm talking about you, Batman.
She's basically saying, hey, Bruce, I'm not an idiot.
Thank God, yeah. So Batman gets to have his cake and eat it too for once.
I'm so glad they didn't do the Lois Lane Superman shit.
Or she just... Like, yeah, I think I've made that point before. It's like, this, Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative reporter cannot figure out a dude wearing glasses is also Superman.
Wakes up next to him,
with
him not wearing glasses.
Yep.
And she can't figure out that Superman's him.
Now, other than the art on this, I didn't really come out that much memorable of it. Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't like as impactful as Gotham by Gaslight, but
I think this just wasn't as effective because they chose to have a super ridiculous Victorian villain, where the realistic Jack the Ripper villain felt refreshing almost in a Batman comic.
Well, it's like that was one of the guys who were doing the the animated movie. for this, and it looks like I'm sure Jason's seen the same trailer I have.
I have not seen a trailer yet.
You need to see the trailer because I can tell you right now they're taking elements of both of these and putting them into one.
Hold on, let me. What better time to do it than on the podcast, right?
Do it right now. We're doing it live. Damn it! That's what Vince McMahon would do.
Gaslight trailer.
The art was effective, but I wasn't like nearly as. It had a better fight scene. I'm always going to be a big fan of catwalk fight scenes.
And if any of you are interested in here to throw in your 2 cents while you're watching this,
it's kind of good to watch it while you're, to critique it, and also realize it's going to have some commentary from the people who are doing it too. So.
Like it's got a nice Batman the animated series sort of art style, the 90s one.
Which makes sense because, you talk about the blacks and everything, because if you remember, Batman the animated series was basically animated on black paper.
Got the same costume, which is fantastic or very much influenced by the Mignola with the baggier fitting shirt, the simple looking fabric, with the beautiful little black bat on there. The Victorian
pretty much makeshift mask. Yeah.
Love that Victorian cape.
And the knee-high boots and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love how, they kept the animated series style, but you can definitely feel the Mignola in it.
Well, there's a lot of creepy looking shit in this trailer.
Yeah. They put little references in here. Like one of them is like,
oh, dude, so Catwoman's gonna be in here.
I can dig that.
Yeah, I think they took the character of Madeline and made it Catwoman, or made it Selena.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like we still got Jack the Ripper. So
you're still gonna
as long as we still got Jack the Ripper, and it's not like an absolutely ridiculous fake.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the creators, when I watched this version of the trailer where they showed that people talking about it and stuff, one of the guys said that they really wanted it to feel like almost like Sherlock Holmes, as in more with the you know what I'm saying, more with the mystery and the detective work and stuff like that.
Selena actually does do the Catwoman thing.
Sweet. Seeing a lot of stuff that wasn't in the comic here.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they don't make it too convoluted. Could have too much going on, too many disparate plots.
Well, like I said, we're just seeing a little pieces here and there. We don't know how this all fits together yet.
True.
And of course, it looks like they're showing us parts that, they don't want you to. I mean, if you look at the part where they're showing the letter,
wait,
the letter is from,
guys, the Gotham's World's Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Hugo Strange, Poison Ivy.
Yeah, I saw the Poison Ivy. That's what makes me a little bit worried that they're going to go too all in on disparate plot elements.
I think some of those are just
references.
References, yeah.
Fan service.
Because if you notice, one of the kids was called Dickie, and he says, "No, my name is Jason."
Yeah.
They're kind of they put 2 and 1 on that one. So
there's a Zeppelin involved.
So we will get that catwalk fight.
But still, we're getting elements of Master of the Future in here too.
Yeah, that's what I say. It looks like they're taking both and kind of putting them together, which is not a bad idea. Because we're not, we understand how scripts and stuff work. It's not like Futurama. It took me 30 minutes to write, so I thought it would take 30 minutes to read.
Yeah.
Can I just interject for a second that I think it would be funny to see a Victorian era Martian Manhunter?
I wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility either.
I'd love that.
I would like to see anything Martian Manhunter, in all honesty, because ever since they probably since the early 2000s when they started rebooting and doing shit like that, they've just kind of thrown him to the back burner, and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
Does he even have a Rebirth series?
No, I don't think so. He's just around.
Red Hood's got a Rebirth series.
Yeah.
My boy the Manhunter one. My boy Etrigan one.
But yeah, it's like this has been, again, DC's looking better for the multiverse. Yeah. Like, Master of the Future wasn't the greatest, but it was a serviceable sequel to what was an outstanding initial comic.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably when they didn't... It doesn't seem like it was initially planned. They probably just brought it back up to Augustine and said, hey, you want to write another Victorian Batman? Seems like the kind of thing that you'd be really good at.
Yeah. But then they gave us, this villain that doesn't connect to anywhere else in Batman.
Which is not a
bad thing.
Because sometimes, you don't need to, like, have, as I say, part and parcel, everything must fit,
Yeah.
Like, does Batman, like, in this one, like I said, I mentioned earlier, the Joker, quote unquote, has already been caught at this point, Yeah,
but that's the thing about Joker, he always escapes.
Yeah, but his first, indication of the Joker was not him confronting the Joker, but the police, So it's it was different, different and things like that.
Probably would have liked a little more fan service in this one. I feel like that Joker fan, like, that gave us the taste of the Batman universe that we know. Where this one didn't even like it seems like the movie's gonna have like a bunch of blatant references to Hugo Strange and Poison Ivy and all these characters that we know and like sort of love from the DC universe. Where this didn't give me, like, there was meat, but I also want some potatoes. I want some of that cheese. Give me a Two-Face. Give me a Scarecrow-like character. They don't even have to be the main villain.
Setting.
Steampunk Scarecrow, dear God, yes.
Yeah. Getting chills.
Or Killer Croc, even.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even have to steampunk him, just go like 80s or 1800s fucking freak shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a dude who's super tattooed with a bunch of piercings in his lip. That'd be a great Killer Croc. Big as a fucking whale.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, he wouldn't even have to be like a quote unquote, mutant or whatever,
You need to make him Victorian strong fat, though, or else it doesn't work.
This is true.
Like the big Teddy Roosevelt at the beginning of the comic.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which one? There were a lot of...
There's at least 4 or 5 in the first panel, too.
The one who's in the ring.
It's like, the guy, and I'm not taking away from the art. I'm not saying the art's bad, but it was literally like, okay, I need somebody like, Victorian / Industrial Revolution era gentleman. Teddy Roosevelt. Just Teddy Roosevelt. Just kept drawing Teddy Roosevelt over and over again. Just changed the hair color,
I guess the one sort of like historical reference thing we got was the Buffalo Bill Cody, but that could have been any character, any DC character, and it would have worked better for me.
Yep. Like Jonah Hex or some shit.
Or like
Batlash.
Yeah, Jonah Hex would have been awesome. That would have been like the perfect choice for that. Would have been Jonah Hex.
Jonah Hex would have been too old though, because Jonah Hex was around during the Civil War.
Then whoever followed him up on Weird Westerns.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either, which is why it would have been better if it was Jonah Hex.
But it still could have been anyway, just for the reference material, It doesn't have to completely line up. It's a fucking comic book,
It's an Elseworld, dude.
So, yeah. I think it's as simple to say of the two, fucking Gotham by Gaslight was far superior.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping... I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic on this anime. They've not really led me astray that often.
Couple of the Justice Leagues weren't that good. But outside of that, that's Justice League. That's tough to write.
Yeah,
and those have Martian Manhunter.
I was just gonna say that's the Justice League, though, dude.
Though Justice League Dark was pretty good, and it had my boy Swamp Thing in it.
Oh yeah,
anything with Swamp Thing, man.
And fucking Constantine.
Swamp Thing and Constantine, a match made in hell.
Oh, even better. Etrigan was in it too.
List of my 3 favorite DC characters.
Oh, you haven't seen Justice League Dark, dude?
No, I've not.
Wow.
Put that high on your to-do list.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, after the fight tonight, it's on the list.
Yeah, that's what's given me hope for this one. They could do stuff, even expanding on the original material, which it was only a one shot, you know? That's not a lot of time. So, filling it out to some extent I can see, as long as it's done well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no filler for the sake of filler, please.
And no contrived fucking love stories that make no sense just to drive a point further home later on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that too.
What, you mean it's not shocking enough to have somebody that Batman's known his entire life get shot through the back?
Right.
Yeah, they had to have some other connection.
And of course, it had to be her vagina.
And I'm rolling my eyes as I said that, by the way.
I can hear those eyes rolling in your skull right now.
But boy, that fucking roller coaster scene was good, though. Like, I can't shit on the entire movie. The adaptation of The Killing Joke was good. It's just everything that was tacked on sucked ass.
The part that was an adaptation was good.
But yeah, I think we've reached a natural end point for this. Anything you guys feel is left unsaid?
No, not really. I think
I need more Mignola in my life.
this is true.
Oh, we will be doing Hellboy at some later part. Evan has decreed it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's just I need more Mignola in my life now. I did not realize I needed this, but now I know.
Some good Mignola stuff to check out, which is basically all that I read. Sir Edward Grey Witchfinder is really similar to this in terms of the style, and it's also Hellboy universe. You've got stuff like Sledgehammer 44, which would take place during World War II, and has it's Mignola writing, but almost all the art style is done to mimic his art style. And then Lobster Johnson is really similar to this in terms of, like, the Batsuit reminds me a whole lot of Lobster. And yeah, that series is fantastic. It's like Mignola's take on pulp comics and stuff like that.
And if you want some of his rare Marvel, Marvel graphic novel, I don't remember the number, but Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange, Triumph and Torment.
That one's really cool. Very stylized too. Yeah, I just listed a bunch of his writing, but basically everybody who works with him apes on his style in their own little way, and it almost always effective.
Cool. I'll have to check all that out.
And most of those are pretty short. Like, The Lobster only has something like 20 or 30 issues. Same with, Sledgehammer 44 is 5 issues. And Sir Edward Grey Witchfinder is only like 15, 20. So, quick reading.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out, definitely.
That's all I gotta add is the Mike Mignola reader.
Yeah, on that note, support your local comic shop, support the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund.
Donate to Chapo Trap House.
Yep. Or donate to our Patreon.
Which is
Or-
Chapo Trap House.
Send me money for weed.
Or dude, you can just go out in the field next to my house and pick it up where you want.
And we'll see you next time.